Hello, and welcome to the Epic Evaluator.
Back again.
Yes, talk
And
about the trailers.
a new epic evaluator.
Yes,
Jessica.
brand new. So, we've seen them, right? All four of them?
We spent a grand total of less than 10 minutes, sacrificed 10 minutes of our time for you.
Yes. We have dissect every millisecond of each video.
But you got to imagine for this because we're not showing the trailers.
Correct. We don't want to get a strike, or I don't know how that all works. So, we're playing it safe. All right.
The 4 trailers, yeah. 4 trailers for Avengers Doomsday. Still supposedly coming out next year, or not next year. It is 2026. Coming out in
Yes.
December.
Welcome. Happy New Year, my friend.
Oh, yes. Happy New Year. But here's the crazy thing, right, guys? No one has budged yet. The Mexican standoff is still there. Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday are still both scheduled right now to launch at Friday the 18th of December.
Oh, interesting.
Someone's got to flinch at some point because there's no way both of these movies are going to require IMAX screens and everything, right? And it's just not going to be able to share screens in these movies to make a profit.
Yeah. Well, Avengers will probably be delayed, knowing how Marvel's been lately. Plus, I mean, I was going to talk about it later, but I guess we could talk about that. But there's one thing I was going to bring up. Mark Ruffalo, right? Got kicked, got the boot.
Is that official?
I believe it is. I'm fairly certain it is.
Yeah, because I didn't research that. But yeah, anyway, go ahead. I'm looking for it.
Yes, I mean, they plan on doing reshoots and just scrubbing him from it. So, I mean, if he's the Incredible Hulk most of the time anyways, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah. But I think it's official. But if that is true, though, that could delay things for sure, especially if they're going to look for somebody else. But
well, we know they're going to. I mean, it's like Marvel does with all their movies, and especially in the last few years. They reshoot them. I mean, they reshot
Captain America 4.
Yeah, Captain America 4 was shot like 3 times. Yeah, and well, per the rumors, but I think it's more than a rumor because people had, gone to early screenings, and they completely changed the movie. Yeah,
yeah, and they're like, it's junk.
According to AI Overview, and we all trust AI here on Epic Evaluators. No, Mark Ruffalo wasn't officially removed, but was noticeably absent from early cast announcements for Avengers Doomsday, leading to fan speculation. He later joked at Jimmy Fallon that Marvel cut him to stop his spoiler-prone antics. The fans expect his return.
Yeah, well.
And that's right. He's going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day in July.
Okay.
So,
well, the good news is personality-wise, can't stand him, but from playing Bruce Banner, I think he does a good job. So,
yeah, I'm not much of a fan of Mark Ruffalo. Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite Marvel movies. It has a bit of Incredible Hulk in it, but it's more CGI Hulk instead of Bruce Mark Ruffalo Hulk. So it's more tolerable. It's tolerable for me.
Right. Yeah, it's hard, separating the actor from the character sometimes, depending on how outlandish they are or how outspoken they are in his case. So, moving on. So we talked about Captain America 4 and how bad it was during the previews, and the movie I didn't think all that great, but the first trailer, what do they show? Who's coming back?
Captain America.
Go ahead.
The real Captain America. That's right. Steve Rogers.
Some people have speculated though, because it says, remember all the other trailers mention the character name, the hero name, but in the Captain America trailer, They say Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday.
Mm, good catch.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I
Hmm.
don't think he's going to be um, coming back as Captain America. At least not in this one. Maybe in the Secret Wars
Hmm.
sequel.
Hmm.
So I actually found this trailer interesting. The first watch or first couple watches, I'm like, that's it. That's all that there is.
Right.
But
Right.
but then I started noticing details. Like for example, okay, so in Avengers Endgame, I suppose the implication was, at the end of Endgame, he took the stone back, but in doing that, he time traveled back and lived for decades, the life that he wanted, personal life that he wanted, and then came back. However, in this trailer, I start noticing some things. Like for example, um, he has a Triumph motorcycle. So the first Triumph motorcycle was produced in the 1980s, so it couldn't have been like, oh, he's in the 1940s or 1950s or something there. So that's one thing. Another thing that is interesting. First time I think that the Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, or Captain America is using a motorcycle helmet. Like if you watch a montage of all the Captain America motorcycle riding scenes, I didn't see like any motorcycle helmet there. Like really, the only motorcycle helmet instance I can think of is the 1979 Captain America. It's got the thick helmet on.
Yes.
It looks cheesy. It looks cheesy, but it's like okay, he's wearing a helmet. So and then one more thing is that the so in the Doomsday trailer, you can tell like there's some CGI. Like his face looks de-aged.
Mm.
Oh,
So
Hmm.
so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, this doesn't make sense. Like if the timeline with the Triumph motorcycle, detail, like he's in the 80s, 1980s, or after that, he would be older. I mean, why in this trailer he was de-aged. So I'm wondering,
hmm.
I haven't watched the Loki series at all, but it made me think about like the Time Seekers. So not Time Variance Authority, but the Time Seekers, and how they have powers to like time travel, but then also to speed up or slow down aging process. So I'm wondering if his time travel, like it had um, it's some sort of encounter where like some sort of like consequence of what he did, like his aging is different.
Well, that's an interesting thing you brought up because I haven't heard anyone talk about that. That the motorcycle is out of place in time, and that there's some de aging going on. Which, yeah, I guess I could see that now that you mention it.
Hmm.
But the other thing we should mention too, as we're talking about these trailers, well, the teaser trailers, they're not, according to the Russo brothers, the directors. These are not teaser trailers. They are stories with clues hidden within of things that will happen in Avengers Doomsday, and then they, get cute and they say, for you, Avengers Doomsday has already begun.
Huh.
So these, I think, are scenes, I think what they're meaning is these are scenes that are not in the movie. These are scenes that were like created to tell a story, to give us member berries about the way things were, things like that, because they're really not. It's funny. I read something just the other day that the trailers have, I mean, in total, had over 1 billion views now.
Hmm.
But these are, in my view, they're kind of sucky trailers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a good lead into the next one because Thor comes back, and I don't know if he
Yeah.
looks de-aged as much there, but it looks like a new scene. Let me fight
Yeah.
one more time. Right.
Well, it's just so overly melodramatic and everything. Like, he's praying to Odin, his father,
Hmm.
and I think that's something that it's funny. Speaking of that, like it's weird how the Marvel MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has changed over time. Like when Thor, the first Thor movie came out, they even had Thor say, "Hey, uh, in my world, uh, you know, science is, our science is so advanced. You look at it as magic, right?" And they actually tried to distance themselves from the whole thing that he's a god, right? Because of the sacrilegious part, because people get upset, and now they just play it straight on that they're gods, just like in the Loki series that Tech Jazz guy mentioned. And I know Verdicts, you've seen the both of the Loki series.
Yep.
Where that ends up, he's a god.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, for me, that Thor trailer for Avengers Doomsday. I mean, one that reminds me of Thor: Love and Thunder, which I still feel that's one of the worst Marvel movies ever.
Okay.
So what are your guys' thoughts on the Thor trailer?
I was curious about who's the kid that Thor was with in that trailer, because at the end of Love and Thunder, he adopted a girl, a
Yeah,
girl from the villain who tried to kill
that's who it
Thor.
is. That's who it is. She looks very boyish in this trailer, but yes,
Oh,
that's who.
oh,
Yeah,
that's my mistake. Okay,
it's love or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
okay, my mistake.
Yeah, that's what I assumed as well. Um,
Well, and someone online made a comparison of that's the first two trailers are about fatherly love. The first one is Steve Rogers holding his baby, and then Thor's trailer is about him talking about his adopted daughter, the adopted daughter who's the actual daughter of Gore the God Killer. So crazy.
Yeah, sorry, I'm with you, Demonis. I was not a fan of Thor: Love and Thunder. Um, the villains in that one, the plot kind of reminded me of the old video games Kingdom Hearts, where the Disney characters, where these villains go after the kids, and yeah, it just didn't do it for me. So I don't know. I wasn't as interested in this trailer, although I do like the Thor character overall. Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite Marvel movies.
yeah, I
Yes.
like both Chris Evans' version and well, I like Captain America and Thor actors, the way they play both their characters in these movies. Period. I think they do a great job, just like Robert Downey Jr. does in for Iron Man. So let's talk about the next one. The X-Men. Xavier is back.
This one was this one was interesting. You had Xavier and Magneto in the same room, but instead of like it just in contrast, it made me think of the scene in X3, um, where where they were in a house together, but it was very contentious, violent. This is just a contrast to that, so I'm not sure what was you know being conveyed in this trailer. I just thought it's just a change of a contrast from what I remember in X3, where you had Magneto and Xavier in the same room in a different room in a house, and just overall violence and stuff. So.
Right. But I thought he died there and his conscious was transferred somewhere else. That's where I'm lost.
That's what I was
Well,
thinking
I think
too. Oh, go
he's
ahead.
he's done more than once. Yeah.
He what?
Uh, Xavier has died. Patrick Stewart, particularly, has died more than once. Like he died in you're talking about Last Stand, and then I can't remember. Did he die again in
It, it,
um,
it,
Your Past? And then I think he died in Logan, which I didn't see. I've never seen that one.
and Logan too.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
he died. Then the alternate universe version of Xavier died in in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Madness.
I can
Oh,
remember
that's
the
right.
name. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Um, and then yeah, the X Men's coming back, so they showed what's his name, Cyclops.
Mhm.
So
Cyclops, yes.
yes, at the
Shaking
end
me off
there.
his
So
glass.
yep, he looked bigger than normal. I don't know, maybe it's just the angle, but looked kind of like 10x what he usually would do. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think they finally have the real costume on him, which is kind of cool,
Ah,
and
gotcha.
that may make him look a little bulkier than the black leather, all the same outfits.
Yeah.
It is just funny that like the superhero craze was kind of built on X Men and Spider Man in the early O's, and X Men was such a I mean, yes, it showed superhero powers, but from the standpoint of depicting the characters, it was so reserved. It was like, oh, they're all in black leather outfits with a little bit of highlights that show an X. Yeah, it's like okay, but we're going full on comic book now. Yeah, I mean the X Men trailer for me, the Doomsday trailer, it's maybe the most exciting of the four, I think, but because something
Yes.
actually happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true. It did show something, right? So that maybe that one could be in the movie. We don't know. Um, but yeah, it's just how many other X Men are going to come back, right? So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Speaking of the universes combining, so let's talk about the last one, right? So the new Fantastic Four combining with the Wakanda folks.
The
That was
Wakandans,
that kind of threw me.
Fantastic Four will return. Yeah, yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, that one threw me just because. Okay, now we're mixing universes or whatever, so that could lead to what the story really is ultimately going to be more about. To maybe um, techno jazz guy, what he said about Steve Rogers and a motorcycle and some things just don't match, they don't line. So maybe it plays into that somehow.
Yeah, I'm not. I yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't have much here for this trailer, other than I did read about some speculation that maybe this means, or that Doctor Doom might invade Wakanda. I, yeah, I'm not sure. That would be an interesting side thing, but then it's kind of like think about like like all these like speculation. They could do this, they can do this, but this is a trailer for one movie, so it's like how much can they really cram into one movie without overloading the audience? But uh, it was it's an interesting mix of Wakandans and Fantastic Four, or at least a thing from Fantastic Four. It just actually when I first watched it, it was like it made as much sense to me as the post credits scene in the first Avengers movie, where the Avengers are in a cafe eating shawarma. it's kind of like
Oh yeah, yep.
it's kind of like I guess it makes sense.
Well, because I mean, in that scene, because I remember when Hulk saves Iron Man, right? And then they take the mask off, and then he says, "Hey, you guys want to get some shawarma?"
Hmm.
So that's why they put that. Yeah, I mean, but
So
what was I going to
techno
say?
jazz guy.
I think the thing I remember most about the Wakandans and Fantastic Four trailer is the which now it's just kind of stupid the way they stuff it in there. The Wakandan whoop 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 whoop. the
But that's
tribal
them,
noises.
I mean.
But well,
So
that trailer, so here again, if we go by what the Russo brothers are saying, and that these are not really scenes from the movie, but they're little mini stories, kind of showing you what may be happening. I think the theme of that trailer is that they're all preparing to die. Something is so bad because she said, uh, Shuri comes on there and she says, "Hey, Um, the King Mbaku, he prepares the people for the afterlife, and at the same time, or right around when she says that, you see Namor. You see him like he's got his cloak on. It's kind of cool looking, but he's like looking up, like praying. So I think they're implying that both kings, are are preparing their people for the afterlife
Well,
because something's bad.
Xavier's speech was about that too, right?
Oh
About
yeah, that's
being
right.
afraid
Yeah,
of
that's right.
death.
They do say that.
Yes.
They say
Who will you be when you close your eyes?
yeah, when you're preparing to die. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the underlying theme of all these.
Mm-hmm.
Because Thor is in the Thor trailer. He's basically saying, "Hey, give me one more chance to protect her, his
Mm-hmm.
adopted daughter, from what's coming." And then the only one we don't have any dialogue in is the Steve Rogers trailer. But yes, he's very protective of his baby,
Mm-hmm.
and so maybe there's something happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much you guys have watched. So some people have put together that when the Avengers at the each end of these trailers, there's a time code that flashes on real quick, and they're saying that if you follow that time code and you look at it in Avengers Endgame, I guess on Blu-ray or whatever, that each of these trailers, the time code from each of these trailers coincides with key scenes in Endgame when they're talking about going to get the stones or what will happen if they get the stones and mess up the timeline, stuff like that. So I think that's what these are these are saying is that a whole lot of people are going to die because of decisions made to mess with time in Avengers Endgame. Which I guess, if that's where this is going, I kind of like that because I don't like the way Avengers. You guys know this. I've mentioned in the
Mm-hmm.
past. The way Avengers Endgame basically took a great setup from Avengers Infinity War and then said, we don't have to finish it. Let's use time travel.
Yeah. Yeah. That was disappointing for sure.
So Damon, I think something what you said kind of relates to what I was saying when I was sharing my thoughts on the Steve Rogers trailer. Is that Steve Rogers, the age doesn't line up with where he is in a specific like an alternate timeline, like it would be like 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a younger one, but then in Endgame, when he comes back to the main movie timeline, he's older, like I don't know, 60s, 70s or something like that. So I think Damon, like, related to what you were saying about messing with time consequences. This might bring in the like I referenced the time seekers, but I haven't watched Loki, so I can't speak for the regarding the time variance authority. But it actually reminds me of the DC universe, the Speed Force. Like if you misuse the Speed Force, there could be consequences. Like there could be an
The
enforcer.
time wraiths come after you.
An enforcer could come after you
Mm-hmm.
and imprison you in the Speed Force. And yeah.
Well, I think maybe this is a great time to. I can do it online now, and I can be the first one to mention this because I mentioned this in a chat with you guys a while back. I came to the revelation. I was rewatching the Fantastic Four First Steps on Blu-ray about a week or two ago, and it just occurred to me. Well, I was watching the special features, and they were talking about how they used the same set designer for Fantastic Four First Steps as they used for the Loki series. And yes, the Time Variance Authority has the same type of retro look, right, to everything, to the whole area that they operate out of. Just like Fantastic Four has this retro look. So what if this is really about Doom, Doctor Doom from the Fantastic Four universe, he somehow maybe takes over Kang, or conquers Kang the Conqueror. He conquers Kang the Conqueror, and he actually takes over the TVA and uses that to start destroying other universes so that he can make his own universe. And people are saying that, like, maybe he's upset because Steve Rogers going back in time and changing his past actually caused something bad to happen in Doctor Doom's life. So,
This is like
Yeah.
it's like a Marvel versions of DC's Flashpoint. The Flash goes back in time and changes something that
Yeah.
and then he just totally messes up alternate
Yeah.
timelines.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing when I saw the Fantastic Four, that this is probably in their world. But Thor mentioned something about going back to Earth, not as a god, but himself, I think he said. So that was interesting.
You mean in the
Trailer.
the
Yeah.
teaser trailer?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting things, but I think the only way that, unless somehow the Fantastic Four come to this Marvel universe, then it makes sense for them to be in the Fantastic Four universe. And
Well, I think
also, why Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Doom, right? Because it's a different universe.
yeah, and well, I think so the Fantastic Four thing. Remember at the end of Thunderbolts, the credit scene. One of them is the Fantastic Four ship coming into our universe.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are speculating that's actually Doom on that, but it could be the Fantastic Four. You've also got the big MacGuffin in Fantastic Four, their baby Franklin, who can do
Do
all sorts
whatever.
of. He's
He's ultra
cosmic, right?
powerful. Well,
Yeah. So I think, yeah, and then the end credit scene in Fantastic Four, you see Doctor Doom talking to Franklin, or showing him his real face or whatever. He's got his mask off, right, for
mhm.
whatever reason, and that's 5 years. I think they skipped. Didn't they say 5 years or something? 4 or 5 years after the last scene in the movie, the end credit scene. He's talking to Franklin. So
Hmm.
yeah, there's something
Mhm.
brewing with all the multiverse stuff.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think where this is ultimately going to, this is just the first movie because Secret Wars has to happen after this. But I think they're cooking some crazy stew here, and there's gonna be, like, 3-4 years from now, well, 2-3 years from now, they're gonna have like they're gonna pick and choose all the actors and characters that they want to put in one universe. So it'll be like the current Fantastic Four and a new Iron Man, new Captain
Yeah,
America.
I think.
Probably all in one. Yeah,
Yeah, I
X-Men.
agree with that because I think people are sick of reboots, right? And so this isn't technically a reboot, right? It's just a new universe, and they're still continuing the storyline the way we kind of know it up to this point.
I
So
think unless they do, and unless they do that really well, I'm probably not going to like it, because
I
it,
know.
it reminds me of what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek, and I hate that whole
Oh
Kelvin
yeah,
timeline
yeah, that was horrible.
where it's actually I would have rather had just a reboot, but
Uh
they
huh.
didn't do that, and because the actual Spock, Leonard Nimoy, goes back in time
Right.
to the other, you know,
Oh yeah, it
so
was
it's
a
all
mess. It was a mess. Yeah, just it
yeah,
didn't make any sense. And Khan too. The Khan interpretation was horrible as
yeah.
well. So,
Oh
which
well,
I barely got
let's not get
past.
started on that.
Yeah, I barely got past that. So, final thoughts, right?
Hmm.
I could start. It's a mess. It's going to be just a combination of everything into one, and you're going to be like, "What the hell?" There's just so much crap crammed into one movie that it really doesn't. Not maybe one cohesive storyline. I think it's to your point, to what you made earlier. It's going to be a start of something completely different in this new universe that they're creating. That's what I think it's going to be. Next.
All right. Well, first I'd start off with a correction. So I said time seekers. It's actually timekeepers. I've done that before. I've conflated the name. So, um, and regarding like the trailers overall, yeah, I think it'll have to do, yeah, it'll be like a bit have to do with like timelines or time travel and consequences of time travel from Endgame. And also, yeah, I think some introduction of new characters, like perhaps younger, new X Men. Um, yeah, but just, I think Damon, what you, I'm sorry, Demonis, verdicts, what you said about like Marvel fatigue among fans. I know that Kevin Feige made a reference to that in a somewhat recent roundtable, where he said like they're backing off on making all these shows, like just like maybe do like one a year, or I don't know, two a year, but yeah, so it's kind of encouraging for me. It's like I don't like won't have to go back and like watch all the Disney Plus Marvel shows to catch all the Easter eggs.
Yeah, I have zero interest in watching Ironheart ever.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny, I bought the Moon Knight on 4K Blu-ray, and I still haven't watched it. Um, just I thought I'd buy it before it becomes hard to buy,
Mhm.
but I'm just like, not really interested in watching it. But anyway, my thoughts on these trailers. I think these trailers kind of suck from an
Hmm.
excitement standpoint. However, I'm a Marvel guy, and it does it for me. It's bizarre in my mind because it's like I I heard things online that they had like three or four different companies making trailers, and that there might have been like 35 different trailers out there. And then when it comes down to these four as being the ones they actually use, I mean, it's a kind of a brilliant marketing campaign because it just kind of like works on things people liked in the
Hmm.
past, brings back some emotions.
They're
So
trying to bring
that's
it back. That's right.
yeah. So that's so, and it does. Everything I'm hearing about. I think this is going to be an interesting movie. I think it's going to be pretty fun. I mean, it could wind up being like your drawing there. It could be a complete mess, right? Or it could be something really awesome that really recovers a lot of the mess that they've made in the last couple of years by kind of just ignoring it all
Yeah. Yeah.
and just going from an end game and saying, well, this is the last time we had a really good movie that didn't have all this other baggage, and we'll just take it from there. So
Yeah.
I'm
My hopes
excited.
aren't that high, but I am hoping. I mean, to your point, that the trailers were chosen because those are the characters we really liked. We know Iron Man can't come back, right? So these are all the characters we really liked outside of that. So um, yeah,
Oh,
I think they're trying to
but
get
on
it back.
that whole thing, and I've said this, I probably said this privately to you guys, but now here again, I'm going to say it online for all posterity to know. I think it's the simplest thing. Like all the stuff they're doing is so convoluted. The simplest way to bring back Iron Man, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. explicitly would have just been to have, like when all these movies started really bombing, they could have just made a Iron Man movie and Iron Man 4. And all it would be is suddenly, it's like card comes up. Maybe it shows his death, and the people mourning his death. And then a card comes up 5 months later. And 5 months later, he walks in on Pepper, and she's there like, it's about time. And he's like, and then like maybe Happy's there, and he says like, what happened? And it's like, I had the stones. I had all the power in the universe. So I wished that I snapped my fingers, and I wished that Thanos's thing was undone. At the same point, I said I wished that I would I would come back to life 5 months later, and that Pepper would know. That's it. No more convoluted
It's
stuff.
possible. It is
Two wishes at
possible.
once, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait for the next trailer teaser.
Yes. The rumor is
All
there might be a
right.
fifth one. I don't know. I mean,
Oh, I'm sure
Avatar
there'll be
is
more.
actually
There's going to be
still
more.
in 3D theaters, IMAX. I'm surprised. Like through the end of the month, it's going to start sharing screens with other IMAX, like that Mercy movie, which is we got to review that when it comes out. But that's later this week actually. But I noticed that it's still showing throughout the month. So there's every possibility there might be a trailer 5 or a trailer 6. Maybe they'll just keep
Oh,
doing
I
it
think
from
they
every
will.
week.
I don't know if it's every week, but I think it's definitely going to pick up pace as we get closer. So,
Yeah.
time will tell. Well, I think
Cool.
that will do it for today's episode. This is all of us from Epic Evaluators. Good night.
It does